Thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for asking me. I feel quite honoured. You only had 3 guests, or is this your 3rd week?
Yes. We have had an amazing 3 weeks of already. Week 1, we had a lady who is a retail kind of guru. Last week we had an amazing well-being coach, and tonight we are so honoured to have you here. It is just
mixing it up.
Yeah. But Sunetra, you're such an inspiration, and I'm really excited and looking forward to hearing all about your journey over the last 30 years. I know that we have recently worked together, and I think one of the things that really kind of really hit me was just your level of enthusiasm for life. So I'm really looking forward to how, sharing that with everyone that's here tonight too.
Great.
But before we start, I want to just do a really quick introduction there's a few new names that don't know me, so just really quickly introduce myself.
Sure.
So you know who the hell is blabbing on at you. But yeah, I'm Loulou Storey, and I'm a style coach and founder of The Styling Story, and I am passionate about us all living a stylish and successful life. So kind of healing from the inside out through clothes, believing that living a confident life can really help us across in everything that we do. And what has really lit up for me in doing this series is just seeing everyone's different approach, because what's successful for one person is different for another. And I'm really looking forward to hearing tonight about what makes you so successful. And you have had such an incredible career. I mean, 30 years as an actress, which, I mean, it's not an easy industry.
This helps.
You have had the most incredible year last year. You're now doing production. You were invited onto the BAFTA judging panel as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you just seem to live such a creative life.
I've been around for so long. I should have a few things in my list. I mean, 30 years is such a long time, and I did start as a child, so I suppose in a way the first 10 years, I'd say I was 15 to 25, and I was just learning my way through it, and I don't think I actually expected to end up being an actress, so that wasn't the end goal. I think I just got very lucky along the way, and then maybe when I was about 20, 22, 23, I started thinking seriously about, could this be a job?
So what was the first how did you even start getting into it then? When you say that you were lucky, what was the first kind of opportunity that, I mean, obviously you started in Brookside.
Well, yeah, that was the very first. To be honest, you know what I did when I was about, I think I was 14, 15, Coca-Cola came to Liverpool to make a commercial, a massive commercial with like 350 people in it, and they just put an advert in the paper saying, we need faces to fill our screens for this Coca-Cola commercial. And I queued up with hundreds and hundreds of people in Liverpool, and so many people around that time will know, people in Liverpool know when the Coca-Cola advert was happening, and I got in. And I was so shocked. It was £180 to be on a Coca-Cola commercial. And I just remember seeing this life where people were like calling it work. It wasn't work at all. It was just standing around having fun, doing things again and again and again. And I got chosen because I was really small. I got pushed to the front, and they said, we need some small people at the front. So I ended up being on the front line of this little advert, and my hand ended up being the hand that said, Coke is it. Well, I was like, this is the business I want to be involved in. But of course, you didn't think of that as being a career back then. And then just on the back of that Coca-Cola commercial at school, getting a lot of fame because people were like, oh, Sunetra was in that Coca-Cola commercial. Then I got spotted because in Liverpool, there were not many Asian actresses. Full stop, there were not many Asian actresses in Britain. And Brookside wanted to have this storyline with an Asian shopkeeper's daughter who was really into her animal rights, and they couldn't find anyone. I think they went to London and looked for like Scouse Asian actresses, 15 to 16, and they couldn't find any. So they started driving up and down the streets of Liverpool just looking for us.
Wow.
And I was spotted on the street, literally in my school uniform, dragged into an audition. And I think because, again, it wasn't going to be a serious life option, it was just a bit of a laugh. I went along. I was terrible, but I must have been the best of a bad bunch.
And what did your family, what did your parents think of it?
What did they think? I don't think any of us took it seriously. It was just a bit of a novelty, you know. My mum was ringing a friend saying, "Oh, guess what? Sunetra's going to be in this Brookside, the soap opera on Channel 4." And I suppose we all watched it because we thought it was only going to be for a few episodes, and then three episodes became 3 years, and then I started understanding what acting is. Because let's be honest, I was awful at 15. I didn't know how to act. And this is one of the things I really wanted to let, you know, whoever's listening to this know that, you know, every expert was once a beginner. And now 30 years down the road, I honestly do think I can hold my hand up and say, yeah, I'm a skilled actor. But right at the very beginning, I was really not that good at what I now call my career. And I think because I didn't expect it to be my career is probably why I ended up maybe being all right at it, because I didn't have these huge expectations on myself. Like, I have to, I mean, nowadays it's hard because reality TV and there's so many more opportunities in television. But if you choose to do something, try not to look too far down the line, because it stops you from being able to just be silly. Because I had this really amazing opportunity to just say to people, I don't know what you mean. And I could say that to a director. He'd say, "Oh, Sunetra, could you just give me, you know, your POV?" And I'd say, "I'm sorry, I don't know what POV means." And I was allowed to say that because I didn't go to drama school and I'm not an expert. And I learned through saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I think we don't do that enough.
Just being okay about asking for that advice and support.
Yeah, and I think I ended up being a lot better at stuff because I was so free in being able to say, "Oh, I'm not meant to know this, so I'm allowed to say I don't know it."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you were first acting, I mean, what was it that you loved so much? Why do you think it became something that you didn't want to stop?
Do you know what it is? Is when you do something average a few times and then all of a sudden you do it brilliantly, there's a click that you feel it. So it's not like when you cook something and it's not going very well, and then the second time you do it, it's the same, and then the third time you go, "Oh, I've got it, this is just brilliant." With acting, when you do find that moment when you're totally in the truth and you really feel like you are personifying this character to the real moment that that person's really going through, it is a bit like a high, like when you just hit that basketball hoop and it just goes in. It's a feeling. And when you get that click, it's very addictive, because then you know what it can taste like. That's when you know how to be in the moment and really feel a completely different person's truth. It's so removed from your own version because it's you being somebody else, that you feel like this kind of synergy of, it only lasts a little while, but when you do it right, another actor will always know when you've got that, when you both clicked, because after that take you'll both go, "Did you feel like that?"
That was it.
Yeah, and that little lovely feeling is, I suppose, where you get hooked. And I think some actors take a long time to get there. I know I did, you know. When you do eventually feel it, then you get sort of pulled into that belonging. And I suppose it's a real belonging in a community as well, being in an industry like acting, which is so, it's a little bit, you know, it's a bit arty farty, it's a bit out there, it's not really always taken as a serious art type outside, you know, the sculptors, and there's a lot of ways you can show your art. But for actors, I think it's so personal that when you feel it, you're not sure if everybody else is getting what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I got hooked.
And when would you say that would you view yourself now as a creative person, and have you always viewed yourself as someone who is creative?
Do you know, I'm a little bit of both. I genuinely thought I was going to use my business brain and be, I don't know, computer. I suppose because I started acting at such a young age, I didn't give myself a brilliant chance of trying to be anything else. But I did always deep down think I would be some sort of business worker, you know, running my own business of some sort. But within the business brain, I was always very creative. So I'd be thinking of ways that, say, me and my friends can we make our own perfume line, or can we, you know, can we all go to an old people's home and put on a dance show? So I'd be trying to do businesses within something creative. And I think that's because my dad's a doctor and he was very business minded, and my mum's a dancer, so she had that artistic flair that I sort of was brought up around. So I always thought I'd do a bit of both.
And it feels like when we've spoken, it does feel like you do have that bit of both. You've always got ideas kind of bubbling, and a little plan for what the next thing is that you want to kind of achieve.
Yeah,
How
I think we're all a little bit torn, aren't we? I don't know if there's that many of us that know from the very beginning everything we want from our careers. And so I think sometimes it's 50-50, other times it's 70-30. But if you can always try to just keep the smaller percentage floating, it eventually comes up to the top. So I've been far more creative over the last 30 years than I have business minded. However, I think there's a time now where I can maybe bring I suppose I've got experience now in an industry for a long time, and I didn't realize I have more to offer than just acting now.
It sounds like you had the support of your family. There wasn't the expectation of what you were to become, or you didn't necessarily have the voice in your head that says, I should be this. You were able to just follow a flow. What advice would you give, or maybe not, maybe that's not the case. I was just wondering what advice you'd give to somebody who potentially is in a career that they always felt they should follow, and it's not necessarily something they know that's true to them.
No, that's a really good question, actually, because over the years, as I've had lots of letters of people who've watched me on telly, and especially Asian girls who were hoping to become something in the art industry, but they felt like it was never going to maybe provide for them financially. They knew their families might not feel comfortable knowing that this was what they were choosing. So I've often had to talk about this element, and there's an urge to go, oh, just go with your heart, follow your dreams. But the truth of it is, the best feeling I ever had was having a backup. And I know that's controversial. Some people don't believe in it, but if you have a job where you feel you could maybe sidestep into something else, just know you have having the so for me, I have a degree in like, it's called information systems for business in Europe, but I got a degree reluctantly because my parents were like, what happens if this acting thing doesn't work out? And I was like, oh, I want to just try it. But the truth is, they were really right, because what I did is I did the normal degree route, and then I went off and tried to become an actress, knowing if it didn't work out, I had my fallback. Now, a lot of people end up living in their fallback careers. And what my advice to them would be is, get yourself something solid that you feel you can always rely on, whether that be accounting or designing or whatever your field is, and then branch out, because you'll always then feel you have a safety net, because otherwise it is a very dodgy climate where you can make or break and then end up really feeling you haven't got the security to do that. So I would suggest to anyone who's in a line of career that they wish to move away from, solidify where you are, keep your good contacts, move out knowing that you've got the option to return to it if you needed to, and then you'll probably end up doing much better because you won't need it.
And what's the opportunity like in the industry at the moment? I know that there's a couple of people on here who are maybe a little bit further in their life stages, and they've got children, and but they've got a real interest and fascination with going into acting. And tell us a little bit about what the kind of opportunities are like in the industry at the moment.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, there's so many more things. I think this is probably a really good time for the over 30s women to be thinking about stuff like this, because of course, when you're a teenager or when you're really young, you could give it a go and you probably end up auditioning for everything. But right now there are so many new forms of being an actor. So there's obviously animation, so there's voiceovers, where it's not necessarily to do with your face, it's to do with your voice and your projection and your expression. Podcasts are brilliant. So many people are doing media, online, blogs, YouTube. All these areas give you a chance to just flex your muscles and practice. And once because the problem is people well, exactly, totally. This is brilliant for me. While we're all in lockdown, I'm not acting. I haven't got any acting practice. So just being on camera and trying to get
exactly. We're
myself,
just
get my
getting in our
shit
groove.
together. This is good for me. And I think what I always used to say to friends of mine who go, oh, I could be an actor. Oh, I could do what you do. And I go, really? Would you want to play Romeo and Juliet in Shrewsbury Community Centre for 16 weeks to an audience of 4? And most people would say, oh no, I don't want to do that. I just want to be on telly. You know, so you have to really fix your mind on the honest reality of being an actor, which is if you're happy to perform as another character in front of a very small audience and you still feel like that's what you want to do, then of course go for it. But like I was saying, like there's so many more mature roles available now. People are desperate for like grannies and mums and aunties in shows that, you know, because what happens is in our job, if you haven't sort of made it by the time you're 33, 34, you probably end up start looking for another income. So you move away from being an actor, and then what happens? We need aunties, grannies, and you know, an older generation to still be able to perform. So there is this gap.
And with that kind of, you were just saying about when somebody kind of gets to say 33, 34, and they've maybe not seen the success that they had anticipated or wanted, and they then step away. Did you ever have a moment in your career where you maybe had a more fallow kind of time and you were thinking, oh, is this, am I done? Is this, I've had my...
Totally. I feel like my whole life I've been ducking and diving and just chancing it because, you know, I keep a few plates spinning and then a few of them fall off and then I'm looking to see what can I do? What else can I do? And I think because this is a very insecure industry that I'm in, like nothing is guaranteed. I'm used to having periods of time when you're not working, and often it's because I have other friends in the industry who are going through the same or have been through the same, that we all lean on each other. You know, a friend of mine only recently was saying to me, I haven't worked since August, and I know the things that she's going through because I've been there. I've gone without work for maybe 3-4 months. I think one time maybe even 5 months, and I started really panicking because we have to forecast our finances for starters, let alone just wanting to work. And you can go through real dips and real lows where you start thinking, that's it, I'm not going to do it anymore. That was my last job and I didn't even know it. So you have to find a community of people that understand you. Don't start talking to people who don't understand. You know, I wouldn't suggest,
advice.
You know what I mean? Don't talk to the wrong people, because I have a real mixture of mates. You know, some of them work in offices, some of them fly with British Airways, some of them are actors, some of them are singers, and some of them are doctors. Now, I know which ones to turn to. You have to have 5 very important people in your life: a mentor, a cheerleader, a coach, a friend who's nothing to do with your business, and what's the final one? Oh, I always forget the 5th one. That was really important as well. There's 5 really important people in your life, and for me, the cheerleaders have to be the people that will cheer me on in those moments. So I have to pick those people carefully. And I think as long as you surround yourself with just the acceptance of it. When we're not working, we're always waiting for our next audition, and we have to believe it will come at some point.
So let me just summarize, because I think this is really, really important, especially, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to get you on today. You know, everyone is having a very unique experience at the moment with the current situation. And I really felt when we were speaking that there was a sense of calm and peace for you within this time, which was really refreshing. You know, a lot of people are freaking out, which is understandable. There's so much stress and illness and fear and money concerns. But what I really liked about what you were saying was just the kind of what you were just saying then, about surrounding yourself with the people that are actually going to put you in a positive mental state and say, you can do this. Yeah. And then also that knowing and belief of it's going to turn, or it's going to change, or we're going to be okay, that hope.
Totally. Well, you've got yourself to this point in your life without having to worry. Had we looked back, if you speak to your younger self, say I spoke to Sunetra age 35, I know she would be saying to me, everything's fine, keep going.
Wow.
Fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so I haven't had to worry to get to this age. Now, if I start worrying too much about getting to the next milestone, then I'm spending so much time on something that I'm not even sure I need to do. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I think for me, the calmness really comes from trusting I I know what is good for me. Ultimately, sometimes it's not right for me to keep watching the news, and I'll just keep flicking from one news channel to another, hearing the same morbidity and not, and I can feel anxiety creeping. And
Yeah.
as soon as I feel that, I know it's a bit like an addiction. You go, am I going to go down that wallowing? Am I going to go down that road, or am I going to go, no, I
No.
can do that tomorrow? And I think sometimes that's a really easy choice for me, and for other people it's not as easy.
So what else are you doing at the moment to make yourself feel successful?
Well, one of the things I'm doing is making sure I dress in a happy way every morning, which is something, one of the reasons we know each other in the first place.
Yeah.
And I really wanted everyone to know this, because you've been so brilliant for me. I didn't even realize I had this gap. And my sister suggested it to me, and she said, you should think about speaking to Loulou about your wardrobe, because I know you always say to me, oh, I wish I could dress like you. Because I've got really, I think when you get past 40, you start aiming to look like you did in your 30s. So you think losing weight, wearing the clothes that I used to wear, all those sort of things. And I keep putting clothes I really like to the back of the wardrobe, thinking I will get to you, but not yet.
Yeah.
And that had been going on for a few years. And I called you, and you came and had a look at my wardrobe, and you really brought out so much confidence in me, thinking, yes, I can wear a check pink shirt with check black trousers and white trainers. I felt really, I think I felt like you released me from embarrassment of some of my clothes. And so I've really enjoyed putting fancy earrings on that I wouldn't normally wear on a Thursday, and really feeling like I'm enjoying wearing clothes. So that's been something I've enjoyed doing. I've also tried dabbling in a little bit of baking, which is very new to me. I'm so not domesticated. I'm not very good at cooking and cleaning. I've got other skills, but we had a few bananas left over yesterday, and
I feel like
I
the
got
world is
online.
making banana bread right now.
I tell you, I've never even liked banana bread. Well, no, it's not my first choice. Well, I made this banana bread using a BBC Good Food recipe, literally 5 ingredients. Followed the video, rewind, follow the video, and it was amazing. It's just like, I felt like I'd really accomplished something. So I suppose I'll tell you what I am doing, which I've suggested this to friends as well, is I sort of, the night beforehand, I'll write a little list of things I want to do tomorrow. Obviously, there'll be some things that are more important than others. Like if I've got to remember to, I don't know, pay tax bill or something ridiculous, they'll go on the list. But I'll also slice in between that list some really like easy things, like, call one of my best friends, which is a really easy job, or um, something as simple as like drink a nice hot drink, and literally ticking it off at the end of the day
So you
gives
make
me a
yourself
real
feel
feel.
successful.
I make myself feel like I got through a little day. So tonight, after I've spoken to you, I'll go upstairs and I'll have this little post-it note, and it'll say, "Speak to Loulou Storey," and I'll go tick. I did do that. Even though it was really
Yeah.
fun, I make things that aren't fun feel like it's a job.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Get
the
what I
fun
mean?
things are, because I think sometimes we discount, and you saying this to me thinks, so I think we sometimes just discount the things we enjoy as achieving something. We think it's all the things that maybe we don't like doing, like, oh yeah, I got the toilet cleaned, or
Yeah.
like all
Well,
the jobs that or the, like you say, the tax bill, oh yeah, done. Oh, and they're the things that then we feel productive, when actually we should be making ourselves feel productive and rewarding ourselves for the things that make
that
us
are
feel
actually
good.
nice. Yeah. Do you know
Yeah.
what I did the other day? I got everybody's got this. Those all those odd photographs that aren't quite, they're not good enough to frame, but they're like just photographs that you've just got, and you just keep them all, and no one ever sees them. Well, I found a piece of gift wrap, just a big piece of wrapping paper, and I got all these pictures, and like honestly, half of these no one needs to ever see, but they were just like random photos. Got a Pritt stick and literally got each picture and just put them higgledy piggledy on this wrapping
Oh,
paper. And I lifted up the wrapping paper and I was like, oh my God, I'll put that on the back of my toilet door. And it was such a small, silly, nothing job. I mean, had it not worked, it wasn't the end of the world. But I would call that the job of the day. Why not?
I think this is where your success is that you are very good at, rewarding these small things in life as well as the big things. I think you have such a celebratory heart. I really think you have that within you.
I think we all love a celebrate. I mean, don't we all like to treat ourselves? Surely you're all with me on that.
Yes.
I love feeling like, I think it's, instead of waiting for somebody else to tell me I deserve it, I think I like to make myself feel like, well, I've earned that, haven't I? Surely I've earned that.
Yeah, but you are doing the job of being your own cheerleader. And I think
there you go. Yeah.
Often when I coach people, it can be because they are knocking themselves down. And interesting, what you were just saying with your clothes was actually you weren't being your own cheerleader. You were kind of putting yourself down on, well, when I get into that item. So you weren't building yourself with confidence, and essentially you gave yourself permission to be your cheerleader again when it comes to your clothes.
Maybe because I feel a lot more, I feel like having a few lessons with you has made me, I don't know, I feel like I've opened up that side of me that didn't think. I always say to a really good friend of mine from school, she knows how to make her bathrooms look amazing. I used to say to her, Sam, how do you make your bathroom look? I'd look around, I think she's just got all the same things I've got, but she's just put them in the right order. Like some people have just got interior design running through their blood, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I've always thought I might have that same thing with clothes. And I think I might have just got into that place where I thought, I'm not very good at that mixing and matching. So I will just buy the set outfit that the hanger says I should wear. And what you've let me do is play and believe I can get it right. I have also got a very supportive husband and son who I keep going, what do you think of this? What do you think of this outfit? What do you think of this earring or that earring? And they're all literally every day, even when I'm in my pajamas, going, you look really nice. Yeah, you look great. It's become a standard joke now.
And I loved really bringing in a bit of your heritage as well into your dressing.
Yeah.
I think that was really exciting. And for me, whenever I'm working with someone, it's so important to find out what's made them tick, or the influences in their life that have, gone back. So all the Indian jewelry, and then really playing with, Indian colors. And we were even talking about why, Indian clothes are so often so flattering, like the diagonal lines and
you're right, yeah,
all that kind of stuff. But
I think I might have veered away from being anything to do with the Indian look, because growing up as a teenager, I so didn't want to identify with being that different. I wanted to blend in with the norm, that I sort of didn't want to acknowledge. My mum wore saris, she wore a bindi on her head, she wore bright colours all the time. So I was always looking for some way to fit in myself outside of that. And of course, what have I done? Full circle, and I'm back to the bright pinks and the bright yellows and the blues. And actually, I gravitate towards jeweled colours, and jeweled colours, like you were telling me, are so part of the Indian palette.
Yeah, and so good for you. Oh my goodness, they just look amazing. I should just say at this point, if anyone wants to ask Sunetra a question, put it into the question box and I will ask for you on your behalf. Feel free to do that. What I did want to bring up was your fabulous moment at the BAFTAs this year, because obviously that was where it all started for us.
Yeah.
And just telling us a little bit about your amazing new role within BAFTA.
Well, yeah, you know what? It's so lovely. BAFTA contacted me, was it a year and a half ago? Yeah, and they asked me to be involved in the jury panel for Best Single Drama, and that was for television. And I just loved the process, because I never knew how I think we all must sit at home going, wonder how they decide who the best winner is or the best actress is. And of course I found out, and what happens is I think they handpick 12 people from different backgrounds, whether it's opera, film, directing, producing, and there was 2 actors in R12, myself and another actor, and there was a couple of directors, a couple of producers, some art gallery curators, real different types of people. We were all sat and they chaired I think it was a 3-hour meeting. We'd all had to watch the long list of nominees. So I think the long list is usually about 20, and we had to watch these 20 television programs at our own leisure before we came. And then we had to bring that 20 down to 5, down to 3, and down to 1. So it was a process of discussion and debate, and people were arguing for and against different films. And I think, and programs, sorry. And I really felt this is the first time I had got to use my voice as an actor, but not as an actor.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. And the time flies when you're having fun. And it really was one of those days where I came out on a new high.
Yeah.
And I thought that was that. I thought that was me done. And then, of course, that finished, and then BAFTA invited me to become a member, and I was like, wow, oh great, I don't even know what that means, but brilliant. And then on the back of that, they invited me to be a mentor for the next lot of, so there's British Breakthrough BAFTA and there's British Elevate BAFTA, and what they are, they're people, I'm in charge, well, I'm a mentor along with 3 or 4 people I'm mentoring 12 actors who hopefully are about to be elevated to the next level. So they're the kind of actors who maybe have been struggling, haven't been able to get work as much as they wanted to, have felt they're in a minority, and we are going to boost them, cheerlead them basically, and try and elevate them. So that's called BAFTA Elevate. So I got involved with that, and then they invited me to be part of the film jury. So I'm getting a little bit involved with them, and I'm loving it. It's been a really nice thing to be included in.
And when you were doing the kind of decision making on the panel, did you know, was your instinct, did you change your kind of opinion throughout the process?
One or two things were said that made me change my mind. There were some things where, what I thought was brilliant, the rest of the room thought wasn't. And, you'd slowly hear people say, I didn't like this, I thought this was terrible. And somebody else say, yeah, no, I agree with Graham. For me, it just, and I'm thinking, oh, I've given that like an 8.5 out of 10 on my list. And they're all panning it. And I'm thinking, do I back down? And then it'd come to me, and then I'd be honest and I'd say, you know what, I really enjoyed this. And I'll tell you why, but I'm not going to try and win you all over. And sometimes people change their mind on the back of what I said. I did change my mind on 1 or 2 things. There was a couple of programs I thought, I don't know whether, for me, the way I was judging was, would I want to watch this again? If I would want to watch it again, then it goes into my, so there was, I'm just ducking and diving and finding my own way around it, like I say.
And how have you found throughout your career about, using your voice, putting your opinion out there? Obviously at the beginning, you said your career was very much like, I don't know anything, so I'm just going to ask loads of questions. But obviously you're at a point, 30 years down the line, how have you found as a woman within the industry? How has it been challenging? Have you ever felt your race has been a struggle?
Oh God, yeah. There have been times when I didn't know I was in a tricky situation, and I'm only looking back now and going, oh yeah, maybe I was being slightly marginalised then. There've been plenty of times before I was a regular household name. I was jobbing about on loads of jobs, playing bit parts, and some of them were quite demeaning. You wouldn't realise it. There was one job, I think it was a commercial for Home Pride, and they wanted an Asian family to be cooking curry sauce or something. And the guy who came to play my husband was a white man, and they wanted to put brown makeup on him to make him look brown. And I remember thinking, is that right? And no one wanted it. And you're thinking, I mean, this was like 1994, maybe 96, 97. So it wasn't like saying it now when people would go, no, that is a wrong. But I remember sitting there thinking, I don't know whether I feel comfortable with this, but he's not saying anything, and the makeup girl's not saying anything. And then we got on the set, and it was before mobile phones, and we did a couple of takes, and then we had a break for some reason, and I went and called my agent at the time from a payphone outside the building, and I rang him and I said, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And I mean, I was like I said, I was like 23, 24, and I said, but you don't play part of an Indian family. Well, the guy playing my husband's a white man, and they put like loads of brown makeup on him and made him do a silly accent. And the agent was like, get out there, don't do this job, I'll explain why, just get in a taxi. And I was like, I don't know, what do I do?
Oh my
and I remember I felt very unsupported by the people that were making it. I'm not naming names because this was a corporation, it was just a mentality, wasn't it, at the time? And thank God that lovely agent did tell me to get in a cab and go home, but I felt like I was being really I felt like I was being really naughty like
Yeah.
just walking off the job. And
Yeah.
I didn't
Like you're
actually just
bunking
walk
school
off
or
the job.
something.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
remember when I look back at that now and I put myself as Sunetra today, just wouldn't happen. I'd just be stood there. Yeah, I would literally go, what the hell's going on here? I would speak up. Whereas maybe when I was younger, I was so grateful to have got a job that you just would let anything slip. And you maybe let things, you just think.
Yeah, and I think that is something that is, you know, as you get older, you follow your instincts and you learn to listen to them a lot more, but it takes time and it can be quite a difficult thing to do. I mean, would you say that you've always been quite an instinctive person, that you really listen into your instincts, or is that something that has...
I've got better at that, but no, I'll be honest, I don't think I was as instinctive as, I think there's a lot of people pleasing in most actors. We want to be liked so much, and we want to go around pleasing people so much that it's very hard to say, hang on, this is invading my privacy, or there are it's very hard to learn. You learn the hard way. And I think I gravitate towards a lot of acting friends who are very opposite to me, who have very good instincts. Most of my actor friends are they do not mind saying, I'm not happy with this doesn't feel comfortable. And I needed to be around people like that in order to make me feel like I could say that. I've watched so many of my colleagues over the years put their foot down in moments where, as women, we just, again, we play these love interest scenes, and there's like sex scenes, and there's kissing scenes, and there's all these no rules, there's no written rule. It's all about, and it's all instinct. And of course, I've watched and admired so many actors I've worked with who've really taught me how to be able to draw your own line and to say, this might be okay for you, but I'm not great with this. And I think that takes years and a lot of guts, actually, because the first person to say it is always going to have to be the bravest. It's easy to say yes after somebody else has said it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's a really important place to start is knowing that the first time you say that's not right for me, or this doesn't feel good, it's going to feel weird, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're probably, as my coach would say, you're probably going to be quite inelegant with it. But you learn and develop how to put those boundaries up over time, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start.
But you've also got to learn that you can say it. You can say no in a really nice way. No doesn't have to be an aggressive negative. You can explain yourself and draw your line really clearly. You could say, I see that you're already comfortable with this, just want to let you know that I'm not. Happy for you to carry on doing what you want to do, but this is what I feel like. And nobody turns around and goes, oh my God, the way she said that, because you're being really, you are being thoughtful about saying no. Because I think there's also this fear, in our industry, we're all called divas, aren't we, if you say no? But there is this diva actor mentality where they go, no, I'm not gonna do it, and I'm stomping off. And I think I've been lucky enough to be around enough older female actresses to know just the right way to handle it is just, if you can say it like you're having a conversation with a friend, then often people hear you better than you stomping off. But yeah, no, I wasn't as instinctive as that. I would have loved to have sat here going, yes, I've always had these great instincts. I've made some terrible decisions along the way, really bad decisions, and I'm glad to be able to pass them on now. I think that's one of the best things about getting to my age is you can choose when you get past 40 to either be a bitter, twisted actress who goes, that should be my role, I should have been that person, or you can give all your years advice and hand it on to the next generation and feel like that they appreciate it. Because I get that a lot from the younger kids I work with on Ackley Bridge. They're all so respectful of me and they listen to everything I say, literally. So I have to be really careful what I say to them, but I'm really happy that I've got a role as an older actor to share.
And you've got some really exciting things happening at the moment. I mean, obviously, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Okay, well, I've got my finger in a few pies. So Ackley Bridge, we just pressed pause on filming the 4th series of Ackley Bridge, which will obviously recommence once we're out of lockdown, hopefully. We'll be doing 10 episodes of that again. I've got a series, The Bay, series 2, will be coming out at the end of the year. We filmed that just before Christmas, and I'm narrating a podcast, which is really exciting. I've never done a live investigative podcast. So there's a criminal who's on the run as we speak. He murdered 2 people back in Liverpool in 2008, and he's been on the run for a long time. And the police detective from from Channel 4's Hunted, the program, he's taken it upon himself to try and hunt this guy down. And so every week I'm doing a live week to week, where are we with finding Kevin Powell? And literally day before yesterday, I recorded from the living room this week's episode, which dropped today. So next week there'll be another one. And as we're in lockdown, he's finding it harder to stay hidden. So we might actually find this fugitive.
And how can people find that podcast?
You can find it on BBC Sounds. It's
BBC
called
Sounds.
Manhunt, Finding Kevin Paul, and it's Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds are making that. So yeah, that's been great. So I've been part of just different stuff, voiceover. Oh, I'll tell you the other thing that's coming out, which is really good fun. So like Come Dine With Me, the whole premise of Come Dine With Me.
Yeah.
BBC have done a new daytime show called Call That Hard Work. And it's basically 3 people have to try each other's jobs, give them marks out of 20, and the person who's got the highest score wins the money. But it's done in a very Come Dine With Me format. So like, a zookeeper, an estate agent, and a tea taster all have to try each other's jobs with each other. And that was good fun. So I narrated that. That'll be out soon as well. So yeah, I've been really lucky so far.
And you're loving getting into all the producing side of things.
Totally. So so Etc. Sunetra Productions is my little one-man band, and I'm taking in scripts from predominantly actors who can write, because there's a real gap in the field where actors who deal with scripts every single day and understand dialogue really well haven't got the guts to take their scripts upstairs to the big producers. So I'm kind of trying to be the middleman there. And
what's a good script? Like
what's a good script? Do you know what? The first thing about a good script is it's got to be a good story. But in order for it to be a good story, you've got to get me to want to read past page 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So the art of a good script is feeling that you're on the journey already very quickly, because there's some great stories, but they don't get to the best bits until halfway through, and people have switched off by then. So I think I like the art of storytelling, and there is a skill in making a good script, and actors tend to have a lot of the groundwork done beforehand. So so I'm touting scripts to big companies and seeing if they're interested. I'm working with some great writers.
And do you, now that you were saying at the beginning of your career, you never had that kind of long-term plan, are you still in that mindset, or are you somebody?
Totally. The only way it works for me, the reason I have been successful is because I didn't expect to be successful in this. I did expect to be successful in whatever I chose to do, but maybe because I never really had to make the big choice, and I just kept flowing with this very lucky break that I got as a kid. I think for me, I manage my expectations by just expecting a lot from this one job. This one job I'm doing now is what I manage. And then I'll think, well, I might not work for a couple of months after that, and it'll just be like in lockdown, and I'll keep myself busy. And when I'm not focusing on why am I not working, it will come again. So I sort of have to trust in that, because it has worked for me before.
Yeah, it's such amazing advice, and I love that, just dealing with what's in front of you right now, making today successful. Like, how can I make today feel great, which is what you were saying, with your lists.
Yeah.
Acknowledging, being your own cheerleader, having kind of great wins throughout your day, and saying, you're doing amazing things, even if you're enjoying it. Connecting.
Honestly, really simple. I really urge any of you, any of your followers and people who like your style, especially. I know what it's like being, a mom. You have so many hats you wear.
Yeah.
It's really hard to try and find some time where you really genuinely feel like I'm having a nice day or I'm having a nice time. And I do honestly think we forget the joy of a good song or a glass of water. I know it sounds really silly, but like
Yes.
I've got this app. There's an app called Fabulous. I mean, I think I might have had it on my phone for years and I didn't even press it. Well, all of a sudden we've got this time and I've pressed this app. And my first job on this Fabulous app is to wake up for 3 days on the trot and drink a glass of water when I woken up. Well, I've taken that on as a job, and I'm like, have I got my water back? I mean, really, it's a really small thing.
And you make it
but
really successful.
you make them work. So yeah, that's my trick.
And you have got a new role as well in your life at the moment, because you got married.
Who knew being a wife could be so fun? Yeah. Scott and I got married 2018. God, you know, it makes you think, doesn't it? We took that so for granted. We got married in 2018, and all these poor people who can't get married right now because they must have had so much planning on it. And I can imagine the meltdowns that are going on. But if I'm being totally honest, the best way of checking if you're really marrying the right person is to not be bothered whether you're married or not.
Yeah.
And I'll be really honest. I really, really do think that the wedding was a side plate to our main course, which was us. And we were really lucky to find each other later on in life, and our kids got on really well. So priority wasn't the wedding, but when we did get married, I didn't realize that was like, oh my God, I feel a different unity that I didn't even think we were missing. So I'm a bit torn between promoting getting married and not, because I do think the best married couples are the ones that say we'd still be like this even if we weren't married.
Yeah. And I suppose the ones that come out of lockdown still like
oh my God, if this isn't the biggest test.
There's going to be such a baby boom and a divorce boom, I think, after.
It's going to be like divided. Which camp did you come out at?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. There's going to be a lot. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hospital beds being needed for babies being born in 9 months' time. They need to make another hospital just for that.
Just with all the children. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat. We've said, we've got someone saying, hi Sunetra, it's Kimmy.
Oh, hello, Kimmy. I feel like Kimmy is one of my casualty fans. I feel like there used to be these lovely girls who used to, come rain or shine or hail, stand outside the gates of casualty just waiting for us all to finish at the end of a 12-hour shift, and bless them, they'd be there. So I think Kimmy might be one of them.
Oh, lovely to have you here, Kimmy. We have Shan, who says, this is so inspiring, thank you. Where would be a good place to start for someone who's described mid-30s, young kids, career, however wants to pursue acting? Having done night classes and of Screeve nights, is that like comedy nights? I don't have experience, however, I just feel alive and confident and jump in when acting, which is not normally me.
Really? So she's just recently felt like she wants to start acting because of trying it out.
Welcome to come on and speak if you want, but yeah, she recently started. Go on, I'll mute you. Oh, go for it.
You sure you don't mind?
Yeah.
Go for
it. Yeah, well, I did some like beginner night classes, and Screeve nights are just, you turn up, it's a pub, and it's a chance for writers to get actors to sort of read their work and see how it reads, and you can turn up and it can be anything at all. And I just loved how I didn't know what personality I was going to be, and
brilliant.
For somebody who's like, I do I've been a researcher, I've got a psychology degree, so I've always been interested in how people are and how they respond and how they react. So when I did that and I went to these classes, I just felt, oh, this is just so exciting. And
you felt it.
Yeah, but I don't know, because I've paid my bills, I'm in a career, and I've got really young kids, so I was a bit like, well, how do you I've done a bit of extra work because I love being on set, because I love just seeing what everybody's up to. And I know people are like, oh, you wait around. I'm like, but I love it. I just soak it all in and just like to see what people are doing.
Have you, so where you live, so wherever you do your screen nights, is that in a pub? And that's just once a week? And have you carried on doing that every week?
Well,
obviously not now.
It's once a month really, but they kind of go up and down. It depends on how busy people are, but I always try and go when they're on. But yeah, I live in near Dundee, so it's not got a lot of work. It's mostly Glasgow and Edinburgh. So I'm sort of.
Would you be able to get a friend to video you doing one of those nights at any point, so you have something on record of what you can do?
Yeah.
So if you got together yourself doing that, and then just kept that aside in your back pocket, and then if you started researching a few plays and found a couple of monologues that you really felt like, for me, I remember when I used to have to do auditions back in the day, they used to ask you to come in with a set piece. Now they don't ask you to do that because they've got the scripts, but that practice was really good. So I used to do like Educating Rita, or I'd do a Greek tragedy. But if you video yourself really letting go and trying to be different parts, because you haven't tried anything apart from what's going on in the pub, and you just start practicing loads of different characters that you haven't, just ones that you might be a bit like, oh, I don't know if I could play a drug addict, or I don't know if I could play a murderer, or just finding through, you can Google it, find some monologues and film yourself doing them and coach yourself, because you clearly know what it is that's good. Then if you get that and edit it together, send it to a local, not a national, a local agent, right? And say to them, I'm only looking for small roles. I'm a working mom. I haven't got much, I haven't got a huge CV, but this is some of the stuff I've done. They're all made by myself, but it just gives you an idea, because one of the things people are really reluctant to do is to take a punt on a stranger for an acting job. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm being really honest. Extra work, anyone can look like a crowd, and but for a specific part, it's really hard. And for you to say I've really enjoyed it isn't enough. So you need to start making, just for your own enjoyment, maybe 4 or 5 monologues of you doing pieces to camera where you really show what you can and what you're comfortable with. You won't put stuff on there you don't want to let them see. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you've got definitely what you call a show reel. Then send it to a local Dundee. So find out who makes the regional Dundee soaps, or the kind of shows that are low. Aim low, but aim high within low. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah,
great advice. Thank you, Sunetra. I think for all of us, and wherever you're at, it's so important to keep the dream alive.
Definitely. And radio, and you could send that to like local radio and say, if you're looking for anyone to do voiceovers, and it just gives you that, you just have to do things outside of the normal ways of doing it. I remember when I was looking to be an MTV presenter. I was like 19, 21, and I got a massive Kit Kat wrapper, and on the front of it said, "Give me a break." And my CV was on the back, and I posted this big Kit Kat wrapper saying, "Give me a break," because everybody else was just sending paper A4 CVs, and I was thinking, I've got to do something for them to remember. Oh, I'm the girl who sent the Kit Kat wrapper. I didn't get the job, fair enough, but I know I was remembered in that office for that day.
So, but this is it. Make the moment in front of you really amazing. And that is what I'm really going to take away from today. I think you have shared so many pearls of wisdom. I've just got someone else, Daisy, who says, hi, Sunetra, I really appreciate your advice on how to say no, but in a nice way, as that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. Love your show.
Oh, really? It's a hard thing to do, though, isn't it? I mean, you'll know that as well, Loulou. We all have to learn how to say no, but I have found the nicer you say it, if you can surround a lot of positives before you get into the why you want to say no, people just accept it a bit better. I found myself, I hate saying no, especially to things in professional scenarios. But I have found myself getting better at being able to say, do you mind if I say no to that? Because it's not really what I would like to do.
But you're still speaking your truth. You're still saying what is true to you, and that is the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. It has been just...
No, thanks for having me. It's a lovely night. I feel like I did have a social. It is a very social night.
It's always nice hanging out with you. And I think that there's a lot of us, if you have been feeling like you are scared about the future, if you've been worrying about what's it all going to look like, and is my dream going to be back on track, or can I get back to my job, or when will the next job be, or how will I make the next bit of money, etc., etc. Just take Sunetra's advice and stay present and make now successful. B, don't give up on it. You know, like the advice you gave to Shan there, go and get creative. How can you make yourself stand out from the crowd? How can you be somebody that other people will remember? And make yourself feel successful. Be your own cheerleader. You know, build yourself up rather than, you know, put it in, make it all happen in your favor rather than, you know, tearing yourself down. So I think full of juicy gems.
Totally. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So wonderful. Lovely to see everyone here. We will be sending out this recording too. And if you missed some of it, it is on Facebook. Facebook on the Styling Story page. One thing I'm just wondering is, would everyone mind popping their video on, and we can just do a really quick, I want to just do a little screen grab so that we could share it. It'd be really nice to see everyone's faces. Do you mind all doing that? If you
Oh no, I feel like we're asking everyone to take their clothes off. Go on, please, because at the moment I don't know if anyone's out there apart from 2 other people.
Let's see. Yeah, do you mind if people let me put you on gallery view so I can see all the faces? Oh, look at all these beautiful people. Wonderful. It's so nice to see you all. Okay, I want, if you could give me a big wave and a big thumbs up, or just make some serious, I'm going to do a nice big, yeah. So lovely to see you all there. Thank you, Sunetra. Just
no worries. Thank you. Yeah, listen, don't worry. We're all going through the same thing at the same time, so we cannot worry too much about the future, because we're all actually in a massive group for this. So don't feel alone. We are literally all going through the same daily news and the same worries. So just feel the sort of virtual linking of arms.
Yeah. Oh, on that note, that's perfect. All right, lots of love to you all. See you all next Thursday or at the coffee morning. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.